Hello, my name is Nadesh Moise, and I am leading this message, a vision I received from the Lord. This particular message is pertaining to here in America. Although the Lord did tell me going forward, perhaps I will have more dreams, more messages. However, what He's shifting my attention to my people. The messages that He will be relating to me going forward will be for my country, for Haiti. However, since I live here, I've lived here in America since I was 16 years old, and I have received many gifts, many dreams, many messages on behalf of America. I don't know if you've watched some of my videos, my previous videos, where I mentioned a dream that the Lord had given me over 26 years ago, which I did not know what to do with it. It wasn't until 2025 the Lord began to tell me, Nadej, it's time to release this dream. The dream pertained to an attack on America. It was a very vivid dream. I have posted the video. If you want to take the time to watch it, I do pray you do so. Today, the message the Lord is giving me, it's in relationship to the judgment that He has decreed concerning America. And as I have previously stated, He said America, the judgment that He has decreed is nothing that can be negotiable. Although He said there will be a handful of those whom He will rescue. He's already sending messages to many of us, to particularly the African American. He's telling you guys, if you guys can leave this country, it is time to do so, because there will be time when you will not be able to vacate, to make your exit here in America. The Lord said, what we see happening, we should not expect it to get any better. It is going to get worse. And it is His hands. It is His decree. And there's nothing we will be able to do about this. A new system is coming. So this is the past. This is messages, to sum up some of the message that He has given me in the past. However, today, this morning, actually, last week He gave me a dream, which I wanted Him to confirm first whether or not I should have, shared the dream. This morning He gave me this direct message. He said for me to read it to the American people. He said, I will not judge a nation without a cause. I will not judge a nation without a warning. Before I judge a nation, I will send my messengers. I will address the pillars of the nation to speak, thus says the Lord. I will not do anything without revealing them to my prophets. They must carry and deliver the messages, my messages, no matter how harsh, how grievous the message may be. I believe He probably told me that because what I received last week was so heartbroken. I was so hurt by the revelation that I grieved. My spirit was grieved for days. And maybe this message was also for me, because I kept saying, Lord, how is this possible? They must speak my decree. So I say, America's judgment has been decreed, a judgment which will affect both the innocent and the guilty. Only a remnant will remain, the Lord said. The charges, the Lord said. He said He has never judged a nation, just like He has done in the past for the children of Israel. He always sent his prophets to speak, to say, thus said the Lord, to give the people warning when they go into the wrong direction, when the perversion persists. He always tell them when the corruption is vividly rampant. He always send his children, his messengers to warn the people. Take heed. This is what you're doing. The Lord is saying he's going to judge you guys, and this is what's going to happen. Yet, oftentimes, we don't take heed. So now the Lord is saying, the same way when a criminal is arrested, and they have to speak to them and tell them, this is why I am arresting you. This is the charges. This is what you have done. This is what he's doing to America now. He's telling America, this is why I am going to allow your enemies to treat you the way you're doing, for what you have done in the past, for the corruption, for the pedophilia. The vision the Lord gave me, the first one was, it was so cool. It was so bad. I was in the court district, like in the downtown area. I could tell there were there were all the government building. I knew that's the section I was in. And I saw a beautiful blonde woman, well dressed. Her fashion taste was exquisite. And I could tell she was those type who grew up in private school, just probably never had a day of struggle in her life, because she was so well. Everything was just so neat. And with her were about 5 or 6 little girls. But she was a blonde, golden blonde hair, I could see. And as I was going down the stairs, apparently she already walked down the stairs I was in. And I saw her heading toward her car, which was parked on the side. And the children were around her, well dressed, beautiful blonde little children. The oldest was probably 6 or 7 years old. That's what I assumed, but probably younger. And I was amazed at the way she dressed the girls. They were so neat, their hair well kept. As she was dressed so perfectly, the children too. And I said to her, wow, I said, if you ever need a babysitter, I'll be available. As I said that, she turned to look at me to answer. As she was about to reply, her phone rang. And I saw her opening her Chanel purse, and she opened it and she grabbed her purse, her phone, to answer the call. She didn't have a chance to respond to me. And I stood there looking at the girls all dressed up, and I decided to walk the opposite side from her. However, the phone call she received, she was speaking to, was from a guy I saw from a distance standing, but he was moving, talking, and there were people behind him, and it was an ice raid. And I could see people running from all directions, but one of the guy who had ice on himself, he was talking to her, and she was talking. They were conversing, and the little girls were still standing next to her. And while all the commotion was going on, I realized that she would not have time to reply to me. So I started walking. As I began to walk the opposite direction, suddenly the whole area transformed into a desolate place. It's like being in a homeless section, of the street. Like when you drive to certain downtown area, how it's, desolate and just completely, only homeless people sitting on the sidewalk. They were some of them, I saw that woman was sitting there. I could tell she lived there, and I could tell the area was just so desolate. And on to my right, there were 2 young ladies who was holding a book. They were reading from a book. Apparently they had studied, and they kept saying, but they didn't give me my diploma. They didn't give me my diploma. And I could see the Lord revealed to me they had finished their education, all the requirements, but the school were not able to provide them with the diploma, with the degree. And in my mind, I'm saying, how is it possible? If they finish all their classes, they are satisfied all their credits, how come they did not give them the diploma? I couldn't understand. And as I continued to walk in my mind, I know I was heading to my daughter's house, my youngest daughter's house. And when I make a couple steps, and the woman was sitting to my left, who appeared to be homeless, she said, I don't advise for you to go that way, because the street over there, the toll over there, and the taxes that you're going to have to pay to cross over is very high. You have to pay. It's a lot of money. You have to pay the toll there. You actually have to pay, and they have to give you a, a receipt. And in my mind, I'm saying, how is this possible? This is not possible. No, we don't have to pay to go to on the other. She said, yes. Don't you know? From now on, you cannot go to a certain part of the town without paying the mandate they asked you to. And they said, and they established every step. There are different stairs, and depending the stairs that you take, the highest you will pay. And I said, he said, she looked and she said, why don't you go this way instead? The fees will be less. It will be a longer way, but the fees will be less. And I look in the dream, the Lord he told me, yes, there will be a time when in America, in order for you to go to another state, you'll have to pay. There are certain fees, there are certain places you will not be able to go. And this was just a confirmation, because the Lord had already verbally told me that. But this is the first time I was dreaming it. And what I was saying was, where the street of America, like a third world country, people were living in such poverty I had never seen. I saw the street cracked, and I could see, I could feel the burden of the people. So in the dream, I recall, I told myself, no, let me go back to where the court, the government buildings were, because I knew somehow there were no fees to be paid, because that's where I had came from. So I decided to go back. And there I saw the woman, the blonde woman, was still standing there. The raids were still going on, and I could see all the commotion going on. And I could see the ICE, I could see the sheriff, I could see the police, and she was on the phone talking to the same guy. And I kind of look again in my mind and said, my goodness, those kids have been standing there. And so as I'm climbing the stairs to go back where I had originally came from, the Lord told me, placing myself to turn and look at them. Then I heard the Lord said, when the 767 peep peep, I don't want to mention the airlines company, but let's say he said Boeing 767, let's say this is what he had said. When it landed, their virginity will be auctioned. And then I heard, one is already under contract. And as the Lord said that, I turned to look at the little children who were maybe between, the oldest was probably 7 years old. Today I had to check, because when the Lord told me the Lord gave me the term pre-pubescent. Before their puberty, before they reach age of puberty. And I had to go and check online to see the age, to confirm what I was saying. Because I know the Lord showed me they were between, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, the oldest. And my heart in the dream, I remember my stomach, my gut, I felt like a pain in my stomach. And I went, Lord, no, just like this. I said that, and I woke up. This dream that I had last week, I could not bring myself to share it. Then the Lord began to tell me, this is the sin of America, pedophilia. The slaves, the murder, the corruption, and pedophilia. The Lord said, speak it out. Let them know this is their sin. And this is the judgment that is coming against this land, or the many other reasons. And the children are being auctioned. Their virginity are being auctioned. And there are those, it's not among the lower class. I'm talking about the white collars, people with money, millionaires who can travel. They can go across state, and that child will be sent to them for them to do whatever they desire. This is the sin that brings judgment upon America, that will fill up the cup of America, on top of all the slavery crime they committed, on top of all the human rights violation, on top of all the abomination they have caused on other lands. The Lord told me to speak it out. Judgment is coming against America. The second vision the Lord gave me, this one was more vivid. It was a brief one. I was praying because I don't know if you saw my recording, my video, where I said I heard a voice. I saw the ground splitting, and I heard a voice said, America split. And I heard split America, and I saw it split, crack. And I saw the cracks. This one, I was driving, and I was looking at a field where there were some cattle, some cows. And briefly, the Lord allowed me to see the cows. The ground was searching for grass, and there were no grass. It was so dry. And immediately the Lord showed me the cattle. They were so skinny that I could count all their ribs one by one. And the Lord allowed me to have a close view of their face, and I could see their eyes bulging out of their face because they were so skinny. I had never seen cows so skinny. Their bones were actually piercing out, and they were multiple, all of them on the field. And just as I saw it, and the Lord woke me up, and the Lord said, this is the famine. Of course, this is a double vision, a double meaning, but this is a famine that I will send upon the land. Not only the famine. I have said, the Lord said, there will be a time when we live in a time when we'll say, we used to have this. I remember. This is the days that are coming upon us here in America. And many of you have been given warning to leave this country. Yet you think this is crazy, just as I used to think in 1920, in 2020, 2021, 2023. I recall even during a meeting in a church I had just joined, we're having a meeting, and the Lord said, we're speaking of the president, and the Lord said, you do know what MAGA means. MAGA means make America white again. There will be great persecution for the African American, for the immigrants, for the African American community. And I mentioned it to the pastor. I said, Pastor, you do know what this means. This term MAGA, this is what it really means. And he said, no. He said, no. No, he will come and fix. And this is... And I look, I said, no, Lord, I don't believe what I heard. I don't believe that the leader of the church cannot see in the spirit what is about to happen here. And then I heard something. I vote for my pocket. So many were saying the reason they will vote is for their pocket, because they know that the economy is going to be in their favor. Regardless of the abomination, regardless of the court orders, regardless of all the words that were spoken out of this individual mouth, yet because your pocket will be full, because your bank account will increase, morality no longer matter. In a prayer meeting, when the Lord told me after this, the Lord told me America have voted, have called, they have voted, they have asked for their judgment. This is what America has voted for. And the prayer leader, the one who's in charge of praying, interceding, the group of which I was a part of, entered and said, I heard people are saying God is getting ready to judge America, but no, President Trump is coming to fix America. And there I said, Lord, am I the one in error? Am I the one who's not hearing you properly? Everything you've been telling me to tell everyone, get their passport ready. This is what's coming to this land. This is what's going to happen. When I saw those band, those people marching, those soldiers marching in the street, and I'm telling, this is what's going to happen. From 2021, the Lord has been giving warning to the church, yet the pastors, because they feel like their pocket, their bank account will increase. It will be in their favor. It doesn't matter what the Lord was saying. Well, this is what the Lord said. The Lord said, speak to the American people. Speak to the church. Tell them this is the sins of America. And the shaking that you see is from his hand, from his throne. You have placed your trust on a man, your savior. Therefore, you will suffer the consequences. We are just the messengers. As I said, he said, when he tells us to speak, we must speak. No matter how serious, how grievous the message may be, we must say, thus said the Lord. So I do pray. Many of you will take heed. Many of you will listen now. And my prayer is that those of you who can leave will be able to leave on time. God bless you all. Pray for those children who are being trafficked. This is one of the sins the Lord said. The human trafficking, the pedophilia, the perversion, the lies, the corruption within the government. Even now, the Lord is getting ready to judge America. America is already under judgment. The decree has been set forward. God bless you all.